Joining me now from Southern California, government, media, and political consultant Jen Jacobs. Jen, we can look at the 50th as a two-way race, a three-way race, or possibly a four-way race. I think we're more interested in Carl DeMaio and Darrell Issa. Senator Brian Jones is solid, but he's not getting the traction. And this Campa Najjar is the Democrat. But in the end, we're looking at Republican versus Republican here, at the way it's shaping up right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, right now, if you look at the media and the money that's being spent, it is the two Republicans that are hitting each other the hardest. And while I don't necessarily believe that it'll end up two Republicans in the general election, I mean, there is always the chance that it could. But you know, Democrats will come out and vote. There is a Democratic primary on the presidential ballot, and I assume that that will at least bring enough votes out to get the Democrat into the general election.
Carl DeMaio, one of the Republicans, is leading in terms of raising money. And for a race like this, you start totaling up the numbers, and it's looking like it's going to be a very expensive race. I mean, you're talking Carl DeMaio with more than $1.7 million of cash on hand, and the veteran Darrell Issa with 1.6. But DeMaio is able to produce ads like this. Roll tape.
Opposed Trump's border wall, calling it unnecessary. Supports amnesty for millions of illegal immigrants. Issa betrayed Trump as the only Republican to call for a special prosecutor to investigate the president.
All right, so that's a pretty slick ad, number one. And number two, again, that's a Republican targeting another Republican in a jungle primary state.
It is, and I think that there's value in having an ad that actually looks at somebody's records and talks about where they were. Darrell Issa did not support the president in the primary of 2016, and Darrell Issa has, had to walk away from a district that he had been in for a very long time. I mean, that's the district I live in, and he cut and run. And I wish that if Darrell Issa really had this much money to spend, that he would have spent it then and tried to keep that seat so we'd have had another Republican in Congress.
Right, and for folks who don't know, that's the 49th district, and he effectively walked away from it, and now it's in the hands of the Democrats. It's one of the flips.
It is, and if you're the richest man in Congress and you're willing to bankroll a district now, why weren't you willing to put your money in and do it then? And you were just talking about Carl's financial resources. I mean, he's breaking all the records of anyone running in a non-incumbent seat in the entire country with the number of donors and the amount that he's raised. And that is, that's impressive, and it really shows that the grassroots and local support that Carl really has.
All right, so we know Issa, as you mentioned, he's a very wealthy former member of Congress, a very successful guy. Viper Alarms, this is who Darrell Issa is. So he's able to produce also some very slick productions, some very slick ads. In fact, you could call him an attack machine, an ad attack machine, like this. Roll tape.
I'm Darrell Issa, and I approve this message.
President Trump trusts Darrell Issa.
He said, Donald, I endorse you 100%, and those are the people I remember. So, Darrell, thank you.
But remember Carl DeMaio attacking Trump?
So, to me, it's highly misleading. And we know political ads are highly misleading by nature sometimes. But this is allowing or trying to get viewers to draw the conclusion that President Trump has endorsed Darrell Issa when he has not.
That's what we call a bald-faced lie. And the fact of the matter is that the president has not endorsed Darrell Issa, and that Darrell Issa is using campaign footage about Darrell endorsing at the very end President Trump last year, and that's in 2016. So what do you call that when you're using footage from years ago in a campaign ad today? Graham, what do you call that?
I call it politics to a certain degree, a certain brand of politics. But here's the problem. You look at the polling. If the polling is accurate, here's the problem. You have the Democrat leading right now, and this is the circular firing squad that I'm alluding to. You have Issa at 21%, DeMaio at 20%, certainly within the margin of error, so there's statistical tie. Is there a chance in your mind that depending on what happens obviously in the primary, but this seat could be lost to a Democrat if it gets too brutal and bruising between the Republicans?
No, not a chance. I mean, I would stake all of my gravitas in political campaigning that there's not a chance that a Democrat is going to win this seat. It's one of the most Republican seats in the country, one of the most Trump-supporting seats in the country, which is why Daryl is using that footage.
Right.
And this will be in Republican hands one way or the other come November. And it is sad that this is the district I grew up in, and to infer that the voters of this district are not smart enough to see through slick, dishonest campaigning is really a shame.
And to question the opponent's sexuality, as kind of vaguely did in one of Daryl Issa's ads?
I haven't seen this kind of thing in San Diego since the 1990s. I thought this was long gone, and I think that I can tell you, even my parents are disgusted, and they live there.
It's rather questionable. Jen, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.